Welcome, everyone. The Flat Earth movement on YouTube has been around since at least 2015. Leading the way has been Mark Sargent, who had his 13-part series called Flat Earth Clues first air on February 10th, 2015. Later that year, Eric Dubay with his 200 Proofs Earth is Not a Spinning Ball first aired on October 21st, 2015. And from there, a myriad of other flat earthers have published videos on YouTube, including ODD TV, who aired A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth, 21 Questions and Answers on July 30th, 2016. Today we will see Part 1, which consists of questions 1 through 6.
So where's the edge?
Who's to say that there is an edge, and why assume there is one? Is it because when we are introduced to the idea of a flat Earth, it's always depicted like this? In the currently most accepted model, Antarctica is not a continent, but a 360-degree landmass made up of ice that holds the oceans within. When we look at a Gleason's map from 1892 that states at the top that it's scientifically and practically correct, as is. We see this Antarctic ice rim. The Gleason's map is basically an azimuthal equidistant projection, which can be traced back to the year 1000. The AE map is also an official map of the United States Geological Survey, the USGS, and the official logo for the United Nations. The oldest known globe in the world is from 1492. This is something you need to keep in mind because many people argue that the azimuthal equidistant map is just a flattened out version of the globe, when in fact the globe is just a rounded version of this true world flat map. If the flat map came first and it has the ability to convert into a globe without any problems whatsoever, then that should tell you a little bit about how this globe deception was achieved. Now, back to if there is an edge or not. There is no proof that there is an edge past the Antarctic ice wall, but it is speculated by many that perhaps the plane that we live on is either extremely expansive or it's possibly endless. In these two scenarios, it would be logically assumed that more land is being hidden from the general public. In a 1954 interview with Admiral Richard E. Byrd, an American naval officer who specialized in exploration, he had this to say.
But strangely enough, there is left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
Implying that there is more land past Antarctica. If that uninhabited land was on a globe, it would be in the Indian Ocean. A recent discovery of an old Buddhist map in a newspaper from 1907 seems to support the idea of a vast plain with much more land.
I don't think many ancient people thought about the shape of the world around them or if it had an edge or not. Some did think about it, of course, and they made up fanciful stories depicting what they imagined the world around them to be like. Others, like Eratosthenes, actually thought about it and from observations measured the circumference of the globe and its axial tilt. When it comes to the Gleason's map, it is a globe projection laid out flat. In fact, Gleason was granted a patent for his map on May 23, 1893. In that patent, he states that his map is a time chart, and later in the patent states, "On the face of the map proper, and within another circle still around the center, is laid out the continents, principal islands, rivers, and cities of the world, their latitudes and longitudes corresponding to the latitudes and longitudes of all other first-class geographical globe maps or charts of the world." In the historical aspects of development of the theory of azimuthal map projections by Rostislav Sosa and Pavel Koral, it states, "The problem of adequate imaging of the Earth's surface on the plane of a map is not new. Over the past 2,000 years, mathematicians and cartographers throughout the world have been considering various methods of finding the ideal cartographic projection, but a priori, the existence of such a projection is not possible, since the spheroid surface is not deployed on the plane without folds or breaks. Azimuthal projections in normal, transverse, and oblique aspects are widely used for the mapping of areas with a rounded shape." This is the land Admiral Byrd was referring to.
Where does the sun go if the Earth is flat?
Well, the sun neither rises nor sets, but travels in a clockwise circuit from east to west, and only appears to rise and set due to perspective. The sun disappears at the vanishing point of human perspective on the horizon where the ground meets the sky, and since the sun is not 93 million miles away, I repeat, not 93 million miles away, but much closer and smaller, the light emanating from the sun only illuminates about half of the flat plane at once as it makes its daily journey.
If the sun never rises nor sets, why does the Earth have night? One would assume that if the sun never sets, its light would always be present. Thus there would be no night, only twilight. It's the sun's glare, giving the illusion of it going away from us and coming towards us, due to the way its light is scattered by the atmosphere of the Earth.
What's underneath the flat Earth?
This is obviously an unanswerable question since the assumed edge has never been known to be reached, but many people suppose that whether the Earth is round or flat, that either way, it still must be floating in the middle of outer space. But the idea of outer space goes out the window with the round Earth theory. Many religious texts support an immovable Earth that has its foundations on which it is laid and its pillars by which it is supported. We simply don't know, but we do know that the Earth is obviously fixed in place, as we can tell by our everyday experience of non-movement. What we see in the skies above are illuminated objects making circles around us just as it appears. Whatever this place may be, it's the center of all we survey. Some say that the Earth is the floor of the universe. In the ancient Hebrew conception of the universe, we are surrounded by the waters above and the waters below, known as the Great Deep. The deepest hole ever drilled into the Earth was a total of about 7.5 miles. The very core of the Earth is nothing more than wild speculation, if not another malicious lie. So what's under the Earth? That remains a mystery to us all. But another thing that you can research is what's inside the Earth. multi-billion-dollar deep underground military bases known as DUMBs, D-U-M-Bs, right?
The Earth being a globe is not a theory. It is a reality that some misunderstand. The Bible is just a compilation book of 66 other books handpicked to fit into a narrative. In the case of immovable foundation and pillars, all those are spiritual metaphors. They are not literally about the earth. The Bible is open to interpretation, and though some of the places and events can be validated, the book as a whole should not be taken as gospel, pun intended. The Earth's rotation is another of the misunderstandings of reality that is still used today. Just because things that are stacked do not fall does not mean the Earth is not rotating. Yet another misunderstanding is the Kola Super Deep Borehole. It was dug to learn more about the outer crust of the Earth. However, it was abandoned after 20 years due to extremely high temperatures, double that of what was predicted being found. And P waves and S waves from earthquakes have helped scientists understand what the inside of the Earth is made of. Though I don't doubt that there are underground military bases like Cheyenne Mountain, there is nothing nefarious about them. The video that was shown at the end looks like something from a Resident Evil video game or movie, not anything military.
What about ships and boats disappearing over the horizon?
This is also due to human perspective. They don't go over the horizon, they go into the horizon, moving beyond the limit of our vision and past the vanishing point. But the ships and boats are easily brought back into view with a pair of binoculars, a telescope, and any camera with a good zoom lens. A great question to ask yourself is, why can't we see noticeable curvature from 120,000 feet up? But many people claim that the supposed curvature can be seen from the ground by watching boats. It doesn't make sense.
So many misunderstandings. This perspective is not the same as this perspective. The horizon is the effect of curve, not the curve. And since the Earth is a three-dimensional sphere with an atmosphere, you can't treat it the same as a two-dimensional piece of paper. Showing a video of high-altitude balloon footage with obvious barrel distortion on the lens does not show curved nor flat. And it doesn't make sense is not a viable argument for anything.
And what about all of the pictures of the Earth?
They are all clearly computer-generated images. They claim this picture from Apollo 17 in 1972 is real, and they also claim that the 2015 Epic Earth picture is real. But NASA employee Robert Simon gave us a glimpse of how they do it when he shared his experience of creating the Blue Marble 2.0 in 2002. He is now called Mr. Blue Marble. He was interviewed and on record stating, "The last time anyone took a photograph from above low Earth orbit that showed an entire hemisphere, one side of the globe, was in 1972 during Apollo 17. NASA's Earth Observing System, EOS, satellites were designed to give a checkup of Earth's health. By 2002, we finally had enough data to make a snapshot of the entire Earth, so we did."
In 2002, Blue Marble 2.0. NASA's Rob Simon made this. Simon's job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is, a composite of data sets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it was a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
There was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
and then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. But I've looked at these images over and over again, trying to sort of get the essence of it. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Well, the only comment I can make here is thank you, ODD TV, for using that video to explain why these images were photoshopped. But I really want to share these with you. These are the original photo of the Earth taken by an Apollo astronaut, its negative, and a carbon copied or mimeographed details of it.
Why are all the other planets round then?
When you compare amateur footage done with professional grade cameras and compare it to NASA's official images of planets and stars, it's clear that NASA images are all computer generated, no different than the photos of Earth. What have become known as planets are round lights that seem to be set over the flat Earth. The so-called planets and stars are not what we have been told they are, and comparing luminous objects that you see in the sky to the Earth under your feet is very ineffective for actually proving the supposed rotundity of the Earth. Since there are no actual photographs of the Earth and motion has never been experienced or proven, it would seem more logical for one to assume that we are on a flat, motionless plane and everything we see in the heavens revolves around us.
These misunderstandings are quite plentiful, aren't they? Not all those images were CGI. Some look better than amateur footage because they were artist renderings. They were not made to fool anyone. They were made to look as accurate to what we see through P900s and telescopes as possible. And let's face it, who wants to look at out-of-focus planets with muted colors all the time? What we see in the sky are not just lights. ODD TV showed us amateur footage of planets that were spherical. So it stands to reason, why would Earth not be spherical? And why would there be only one world in a universe of God's supposed making? This is flat earthers using ancient people's understanding of the world around them and the Bible as evidence for their narrative because of their misunderstandings about reality. Next week, I go over questions 7 through 17. I hope you will join me. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't, comment. It helps feed the YouTube algorithm so that other people can see my videos. They get recommended more. You know how that works. Consider becoming a channel member. Just hit that little join button under the video or on my channel and it'll take you right where you need to go. It'll give you prompts. It's easy. Or consider becoming a patron through my Patreon link, which is in the description below. If you don't want to support me financially, I'm fine with that. Just watch this, like it, share it. Whatever you do, it's support and I am grateful for it. I appreciate it very much. Thank you for watching. You all rock. See you in the next video.